leaving.
Nope, that didn't get to work. Yep,
Dan, you stay for 2 seconds.
just 2 seconds.
We need to count you out.
Just roll call.
Senator Anderson,
Excused?
Senator Furphy,
Aye.
Senator McEwen,
He's excused?
Senator Pappas,
Here.
Chairman Landon.
Here. Okay,
You have
thank
a
you, Senator
quorum.
Furphy. Whenever you can come
I'll
back,
get back as
we'd
soon
love
as
to
I
see you again sometime. Thank you. Good deal. Okay, I'm going to turn the meeting over to the Vice Chairman, by golly, and listen in, and hopefully I won't have to take off either, so.
If we do, we're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Everything's left up to me. Just good to go.
All right.
All right, first on the docket is House Bill 64, Vehicle Service Contracts. Representative Brown, please take it
Mr.
away.
Vice Chairman, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I will make this short and sweet in an attempt to make sure that we get both these bills in. So, Mr. Chairman, what you have before you is a bill that actually the chairman co-sponsored last year and this year. This is a bill updating some current statute, moving some information around from the Department of Insurance and the insurance code and changing it over to our service contract code, and strengthening up some of the language that the Department of Insurance has asked us for. Mr. Chairman, I'm guessing that you guys have probably read the bill, so I can go through it if you'd like. Otherwise, there are 2 amendments that are in front of you. One of them is drafted by LSO. Apparently, you cannot just add an S to the end of a word and make it plural, so they have correctly spelled the term warranties. And then you also have a proposed amendment being brought forward by Mr. Pickard, and I have a copy of those if you guys need those. Mr. Chairman, I'll stand for any questions.
Yeah, we do have copies of those. Certainly, the one proposed by LSO makes a lot of sense. I have not looked at the proposed amendment by Mr. Pickard, and maybe he can discuss it. I don't think we need to walk through the bill line by line. I've read it. I don't know about the good chairman, but I'm good with not having to visit it line by line. So,
So,
anything else?
Mr. Chairman, just to, as usual, Kim was way out in front of us and had those copies, and legal staff brought me a bunch of copies, so we've got lots of.
We got lots of copies of them.
Proposed amendment, yeah, we're good.
Okay, let's open it to public comment, and Mr. Pickard. Dave, good to see you.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Dave Pickard. It's a pleasure to see you as well. And I too will be very brief. Before you is House Bill 64. What this bill does is updates the Wyoming statutes to what's the common practice out there in 37 other states regarding theft protection and appearance care. 15 other, or in 7 states on what is considered extensive wear and use for leased vehicles, and 43 states providing coverage for key fob materials. And basically the background on the bill is that as these products become more available in the marketplace, typically sold at the auto dealerships, they're a great consumer protection as the prices of these replacement parts have gone up. And these are outside of the scope of what your typical P&C or property and casualty insurance does for coverage if your car is stolen, or you lose, or your key fob is damaged, et cetera. So we would ask for your favorable consideration. Again, we have one of the changes from the original bill that was presented in the House was in consultation with the Department of Insurance and the Commissioner. And what we did is we brought Utah legislation into it where it delineates, you'll see later in the bill, where there's a long list of what is covered under theft protection. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the first LSO amendment, again, just clarifies or corrects the misspelling. And the second one that I am presenting cleans up that original amendment that was the standing committee amendment over in the House. We were also pressed for time over there, and we missed a couple of things where needed to delete on page 3, line 10, the inclusion of that incidental theft protection program payment. We're removing that because in the standing committee amendment that was adopted this in-year engrossed bill, it came back in at a later part in the in that language. And then again on page 5, we're correcting on page 10 the words we're replacing "to pay or reimburse for the expenses" with the words to perform as provided in the warranty contract. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd stand for any questions.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, I guess.
Mr. Chairman.
So, Dave, just a question about what was done on the other side. I'm just struggling to track a couple of things here. I think we're good, but I just am curious how the bill went through the other side real quick and what they did to it. Can you remind me of that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, what essentially we added from the original draft of the bill, and let me explain. When we drafted the bill, it made its way over to the Department of Insurance due to kind of some miscommunications. About the first week in February, I was able to have a conversation with the commissioner. And as we noodled back and forth this language, he suggested the Utah language come into it. And that is what you'll see on page 6, starting at line 10, or actually page 6, line 7. We brought in theft protection program means a device or system that, and then it goes on the rest of page 6 and through the middle part of page 7, delineating what that theft protection program may include, which is an alarm system, a body part marking product, a steering lock, a window edge product, a pedal or ignition lock, a fuel or ignition kill switch, an electronic radio or satellite tracking device. Those are the things that we added to it in the standing committee amendment that again was in consultation with the Department of Insurance in bringing in a little bit more clear language. And incidentally, the association, upon having that suggested language, thought that it was a lot more concise than what we had brought to the sponsors when they filed the bill with LSO.
So, Mr. Chairman, the way I see it, it's really expanded definitions, threat protection program and threat protection program warranty. So, yeah.
It's different from what I signed on to, I'll tell you that. But it actually looks better, gentlemen, so,
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that.
yeah.
Great. Representative Landon, did you want to add anything onto it?
Mr. Chairman, I was just here sitting on the bench in case we need backup.
So thanks for that explanation on what the House did. And Representative Landon, you're okay with the proposed amendment that Mr. Pickard suggested, and it makes perfect sense to me as well. Mr. Chairman, you have any issues on these amendments?
No,
Okay.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I think
I
I
think
look
what we'll
forward to
do.
another visit upstairs though before we haul this out there. How
Yeah.
about that?
So, okay, I'll open it up to any other public comment.
Thank you,
I
Mr. Chairman.
think we have someone online, but first of all, anyone else in the room that would like to address this bill? We do. Please come forward. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's Linda Johnson. I'm the Deputy Commissioner with the Insurance Department, and I have with me Tana Howard, who's the Senior Policy Analyst, and she's in charge of the section that reviews these vehicle service contracts when they're filed with our department. So I'm actually going to turn it over to her. So.
Okay, great.
Ms. Howard, please.
Mr. Chairman, Chairmans. Again, I'm Tana Howard, Senior Policy Analyst with the Department of Insurance. As Mr. Pickard said, he approached us regarding this bill. It's really consistent with what we've seen in other states. And he mentioned that as well, several other states. And it's really just expanding the coverage of what service contracts could offer. We feel like that's not a bad thing. Our office registers the service contract providers and we review those contracts. And the amendment that was expanding or clarifying that definition of theft protection was suggested by us, just so when we look at those contracts, it's more clear of what that theft protection program is and consists of. We're neutral on the bill. We have no concerns, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, just curious what you're looking for when you review these service contracts. These are the service contracts, by the way, that if I go buy a new automobile, the dealer may offer these to me or whatever, and I can sign up for extra kinds of protections. What are you looking at when you review those? What are you looking for?
Mr. Chairman, yes. So after they register, and there is a registration process that they have to meet, the contracts come across my section's desk, and we have a chapter in our insurance code that's titled Service Contracts, and there are provisions within the code of what they have to include, those contracts. So there's some disclosure notices, also language of who exactly is responsible, the responsible parties in the contract, the deductible, the price. A lot of everything that we're looking at is spelled out in statute in addition to what we've proposed possibly here in the same chapter of 49. And it's mainly, it's entirely consumer protection, disclosure driven is what we're looking at.
So just to follow up,
Please.
have you ever called somebody regarding a concern that you would have? And if you did, what was it?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, yes. So we, when the service contract providers register and they send us the contracts, we constantly go back with their attorneys and
Okay.
debate the language. And they cannot use the product until it's approved by our department, those contracts.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm good.
we're good. Any other testimony from the room? I know we have a Mr. Aaron Lunt that was signed up for testimony. Is he online? Donna, would you please let him in?
I just admitted Mr. Lund.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, welcome, Mr. Lunt.
We sure can.
Welcome to the Senate Transportation Committee. Please, you have the floor, or the screen, as it may be.
Well, thank you so much. I will be extremely brief here. My name is Aaron Lunt, and I represent the Motor Vehicle Protection Products Association, and we are promoting this piece of legislation, working with Mr. Pickard, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be here. There's nothing more that I wanted to really add. We obviously are in favor of this piece of legislation. We think it's very good for the state. We think it's good for consumers. Nothing that has been expressed today in this hearing we would have any objection to. So just want to be here. I was here just to answer any technical questions that you might have. Real quick about our association, we represent providers. Those are the individuals that do get licensed that was just spoken about in the state. We represent administrators that administer these contracts. And so we have a really good representative sampling of the stakeholders that bring these products to the consumers in the marketplace. So just here, we absolutely promote this. We think it's a great piece of legislation. It brings the state in alignment with many other states where we've been pushing very similar legislation as well. So just here to answer any questions that might emerge. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Lent. Appreciate your testimony. Is that the only person online for this bill? Anybody with their hands up?
I've got a question of this gentleman.
I believe
Oh,
that's the only
oh,
person for
excuse
this
me.
bill.
No problem.
We do have some questions for you, Mr. Lent.
Mr. Lund, I love this process because I always learn a great deal. And I guess if I had purchased theft protection, I didn't realize that some of these things weren't covered. Is this, that kind of surprises me a little bit. How do you know what's covered and what isn't? And I guess if this is specified in law, you still better check your insurance that you have, correct? Because this doesn't automatically put these items within your coverage. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm understanding the question correctly, yeah, I mean, obviously the contract is going to govern what would be covered when you make a purchasing decision. Again, these products are optional. Consumers do not need to make these purchases. They're not mandatory. But yeah, I mean, typically the terms and conditions, those are filed and approved as was just spoken about a few minutes ago. There's adequate disclosures that are provided in the contracts. But yeah, there's basically in the contract or in the agreement, the service contract, that would identify what coverages you have, what's covered. There are some certain exclusions that might apply depending on the nature of the product. But I would suggest, yes, everything is not automatically covered there. You need to look at the actual contract to understand what is being purchased at the time of that purchasing decision. So hopefully that's responsive to your question.
So this just allows them to include the following items. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, we have seen, a lot of times industry doesn't like legislation or regulation because it is viewed as an impediment. Many of our members actually value that legislative and regulatory framework because all of our constituents and all of our members like that framework because it identifies how to sell a compliant product, what's appropriate to do in the marketplace. It removes or at least can limit bad actors, as we call it, from entering the marketplace. So this is just creating a regulatory and legislative framework to sell these products that we have identified as being very valuable to consumers. As Mr. Picard talked about, key fob, for example, replacing those key fobs can be quite expensive. Excess wear and use is a product that's usually in a leased situation where when an individual turns in their vehicle at the end of a lease term, there could be excess charges that the lessor would charge to them. This helps waive those, gives the consumer benefits so that they are not left being responsible for those things. This just provides a framework to sell compliant products in the marketplace that our members very much value in all jurisdictions, including your state.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lund.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have no others online. Okay, then I'll close public comment. Okay, conferring with my good chair, what we'll do is go ahead and work the bill, and the issue is we don't have enough members to actually pass this. So what we're going to do is take a vote and leave it open for because we didn't get proxies. I don't believe we have proxies from anyone, do we?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Senator Furphy.
Senator
left
Furphy did.
proxies.
So that's good. I think I still will leave it open for others to.
Yeah, I think we can leave it open.
weigh
They're
in.
aware of it, and I think both will try to be here. So
Yeah,
we do need to work these amendments.
right. Mr. Chairman, would you like to move one or two or?
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chairman, I'll move the proposed amendment provided to us by legal staff, which is just to clean up spelling change, it looks like, page 2, line 5.
Okay, and
Can I have a second?
I'll
Thank you
second
very
that.
much. That's good. So
I think we've already discussed the.
we could do these by acclamation almost,
Yeah,
don't you
yeah.
think? Are we
So,
good?
yeah.
I think we're good.
I think
Yep.
we're good. Okay,
2
so
ayes. Very
so
good.
that one passes. All right. And I'll go ahead and move the Second Amendment that we have by Mr. Pickard I
Yeah.
think we had plenty explanation. If
Second.
you're good with that,
Yep, seconded by Landon.
okay. All in favor? Why
Yeah,
both?
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
All
are.
right,
for
so that one passes.
All right.
So we're back on the bill.
Yeah.
I think we're good unless you got any more comment, Senator Landon?
No, I think we're good.
Kim, could you take the roll?
Senator Anderson,
Excused?
Senator Furphy left a proxy of aye. Senator McEwen,
Excused?
Vice Chairman Pappas,
Aye?
Chairman Landon.
Aye.
Okay, and as I said, we'll leave it open so those others could vote if they so chose. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, thank you. Chairman.
Thank you, folks. This ended up being an adventure that we didn't expect, but anyway.
you guys agreed. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah,
Hans Odie is on,
yeah, let's get together, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Pickard, appreciate it.
You haven't got the text yet? You good still?
I have not. We're good. Yep.
Okay. Hello, so now we're at House Bill 44,
We are.
Mobile Home and Vehicle Title and Transfers.
Yep.
Representative Newsom, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman and committee members. This is a bill to clean up some vehicle titling issues that got left behind on mobile homes several years ago when we changed the statute that allows for the conjunctive and or ownership. Mobile homes are defined under the motor vehicle statutes and require a title for transfer of ownership or to be moved from one property to another. There are also a couple of places that were left behind in a previous bill that require the county treasurer to provide a sales tax receipt to be supplied to the applicant when paying tax on a new vehicle purchase. In section 3 on the last 2 pages, this is cleanup of the application for a duplicate title process. Presently, everyone on the face of a title must sign the duplicate application, and as you can imagine, sometimes that becomes a hassle for some who have owners that work or live out of town. This change would allow any owner who appears on the face of the title to make application for a duplicate title. It gives no right to sell or trade the vehicle, just to get that piece of paper. This makes the process of getting the duplicate title easier on the owners and our clerks. Hans Odie, who is my deputy clerk in Park County, brought this issue to me, and so we kind of admitted him
Okay.
on Zoom, and I hope that he will kind of walk you through the bill.
That would be great. Thank you. Well, I was going to invite the senator here in a moment,
The senator will be presenting this.
but since Senator Newsom already passed the gavel, I think I'll go ahead and take testimony online
Okay.
as part of her testimony.
We have doubled the size of our committee.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Is that okay with you, Senator Cost? Okay.
Okay.
It didn't
get twice as smart.
Okay. So, Mr. Odie, am I pronouncing that correct?
Yes.
Please, if you would like to walk us through the bill, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for allowing my remote testimony today. As you know, it's a long way from Park County down to Cheyenne. So I'm really happy to be able to join you today here from my office. Again, as Representative Newsom had explained, House Bill 44 was brought by the County Clerks Association, and she has agreed to help us out with that. And we're grateful for that, for her help in getting this through both bodies. So, Mr. Chairman, I can work through the bill here. If you'd like to start on page 2, lines 16 through 17. Presently, Mr. Chairman, there isn't a provision in statute that requires the treasurer to provide a sales tax exempt statement to the clerk's office when there's a situation when sales tax may not be required. In a gifting situation or something like that, where I'm gifting a vehicle to another person and there's no sales tax required. This just closes that gap where, and would require the treasurer to provide a sales tax exempt statement back to the clerk's office, because we require that a sales tax receipt or a sales tax, in this case, we would require that an exempt statement would also be required before the customer was able to pick up that title from the clerk's office. So, Mr. Chairman, on page 3, line 19, this is just cleanup from several years ago when we had a motor vehicle bill in your body, and it just removes motor from all references in statute. We removed that several years ago, and this is just one place where that was left off, and we're just going to clean that up. Mr. Chairman, on the top of line page 4, this again is just more cleanup where we're adding a hyphen to co-owners. Pretty minor situation there. Page 4, lines 13 through 15, Mr. Chairman, this allows any one person listed as an owner on the face of the title the right to apply for a duplicate title. Please note that once the title is made, the duplicate title is made, it'll still be required to be signed off by all owners as long as there's a conjunctive and or joint tenants there. So if it's held in, myself and another person without any joint tenants or conjunctive, one can sign off to sell that. But if there is a conjunctive there, all owners on the face of the title must sign off to liquidate the asset. So page 5, line 4 gives any owner the right to make application for the title for a mobile home. So this just conforms with what we just talked about on page 4. And then on page 5 at the bottom, this is a new subsection D that makes transferring a mobile home conform with statute for all other titled vehicles as defined in 31.1.101. And at the top of page 6 continues with that conforming language in the new subsection. In page 6, lines 18 through 20, this is also conforming with what we discussed on page 4 as far as the treasurer providing no sales tax due receipt to the clerk's office. And then the additions on page 7 and 8, Mr. Chairman, also are conforming language for the sales tax exempt receipt to be required by the treasurer. And Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything further to add. I would be glad to answer any questions that your committee may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Odie. Questions for Mr. Odie? Committee? Senator McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I look through this, this is basically, we're handling these in the manner we handle everything else. Is that, am I correct when I assume that? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Odie.
Thank you. Senator McEwen, that is correct. This is mostly just conforming and then making the mobile home title so that we can duplicate a title like we do for vehicles, and yeah, it's very conforming.
Okay. Other questions, committee? Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Odie. And
Thank
now,
you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. And now I'd like to, Senator Cost, any comments or? Yeah, certainly you're welcome to come address us if you'd like. Yeah, I think we emptied the room now. Everybody's up front.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, I'm going to present it on the floor, so I want to make sure I had down pat what we were doing. I don't want to fumble around any worse than I already do on the floor. So,
Okay,
but I agree with it, obviously, because I co-signed.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Mr. Vice Chairman, so Senator, I'm catching up as hard as I can on this exemption piece. And not to bog us down today, but that might be something that you and I can talk about up above, and you may get a question on that front. Not certain about that, but I'm just, yeah, I might be the only one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I will gladly be ready for him when he decides.
okay. Thank you.
May I speak to that? Mr.
Certainly.
Chairman? Thank you, Mr.
Senator-
Chairman. That
Representative.
sometimes in some, excuse me, in some situations, for instance, if a motorcycle is purchased and the sales tax is paid at the dealership, and so then the county treasurer would have to say that that sales tax has been paid, not, by the person, but to a different entity that will then remit that sales tax. So that's kind of that exemption
Yeah,
piece.
that
So
makes sense.
that's not exempt from sales tax, but it's been paid in a different way. In a gifting situation, it is kind of exempt from sales tax.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Odie can explain that better.
Yeah, no, that's helpful.
I think it's pretty clear. Thank you. Okay, I see no one else in the room for further testimony. I don't believe there's anyone else online. That's correct. Okay, so we'll close public testimony. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move the bill.
Okay, the bill's been moved
Second.
and seconded. We have no amendments before us, so we're on the bill. Any amendments you may have? No? Okay. Then is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, could I have a motion or
Question.
question? Yeah, question's been called for. Could we have a roll call, please?
House Bill 44, Senator Anderson,
Excused.
Senator Furphy,
Aye.
Senator McEwen,
Aye.
Senator Pappas,
Aye.
Chairman Landon.
Aye.
Okay, so House Bill 44 has passed the Transportation Committee. Senator Cost, we look forward to having you present this to us on the floor.
Thank you, and I will do my best.
Okay, and so I'd like to turn the meeting back over to our chairman for any parting thoughts and maybe direction on our future.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, for shepherding us through those two. Thank you, Representative Newsom, appreciate it. And thank you, Senator Cost, for taking this upstairs. We'll back you up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And really appreciate your folks back home, Representative, for being on the Zoom call. So thanks. Yeah. Yeah, some are not. Some that are close to us. Committee, just a couple of things. If you're comfortable with the vote, we left it open on 64, Senator McEwen, thank you. And Senator Furphy wanted to he has a couple of aye votes on those amendments, just to make sure that we had a majority of the committee. Okay, so, and we're adjourned, by the way.
Okay, and nothing